Hello, everyone. Welcome to AMHQ Early. It is Thursday, October 13th, 2016. I'm meteorologist Jen Carfagno.
And I'm Anna so you guys time to get you the weather info that you need to start your day. We begin with the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Matthew.
Talk about where we are with the river flooding situation. Some rivers have crusted in North Carolina, but the water is draining, and we're actually seeing some rivers still rising in South Carolina. So these are where the flood warnings are still up. It includes parts of southeast of Virginia into North Carolina, back down into South Carolina as well. These are all the locations dealing with flooding. All the purple triangles, upside down triangles, are where we have major flooding ongoing. And for a number of these locations, it will continue into the weekend and into mid next week as well. So still watching this very serious situation here as we look at rivers either cresting or not yet cresting and staying up in the major flood stage. So, for example, here's one that hasn't crested yet. This is in Kinston, North Carolina, expecting a crest tomorrow, forecasting a crest of 28.9. Impacts, of course, with that here in Kinston, above the record crest. And that has been the calling card with all of this, above the record. This is flooding that no one has experienced before, where we're getting above those records. So let's talk about the Neuse River. All water leads to one point, right? Unfortunately, it's in Kinston, North Carolina. You can see where all of these other rivers and streams and creeks drain right into the area, and that's the concern. Always, you got to look at the drainage. You got to look and see where the water is flowing to talk about downstream. Kinston is an area where the average flow rate is 16,000 gallons per second. By the time we get to the peak forecast midday Saturday, we're talking about 260,000 gallons per second. It's a lot of water, a lot of force with that water that's going to be flowing through. Let's look at Goldsboro, North Carolina, a little upstream where we're expecting to crest. Actually already crested on the 12th, but still right up there. I mean, look at this, hardly a change from where it crested. Still staying at major flood stage, still at record flood stage right now, but still staying at major flood stage right through.
Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire is called extreme, and we say good morning to you in the Northeast because you're getting some showers. Not a drought buster, but anything helps.
Anything is better than nothing, right? Now, of course, we don't want it all at once either, but let's take a look at Syracuse, one spot that has been dealing with the drought. We got that exceptional drought in, the extreme drought in parts of western New York. No exceptional in New York just yet, but let's look at Syracuse because you might be thinking about doing some leaf viewing this weekend. It's a great weekend for it. Fall colors expected to reach their peak in the Adirondacks and the Catskills this weekend, and we're going to get some sunshine. Now, the same can't be said up in upstate New York. We've got some showers today. So here's our system. There's our front. There's the showers out ahead of it. This will be moving through western New York today, but then we'll see some showers right across northern New York into Vermont, into New Hampshire. Rain is on tap for you today, but it's scattered in nature. Don't think it's a complete washout. In fact, I'll show you how it plays out for today. We get some showers that move on through. It's just a morning event for you in Pittsburgh and Buffalo. By afternoon, you're probably breaking out the sunglasses as the sun peeks out from those probably stratocumulus clouds. And then Burlington, we've got a windy, rainy day ahead with temperatures in the 60s. The rain reaching Maine by this afternoon. Are we going to get a lot of rain in Boston or New York City out of this? Not really. There'll be a chance of some showers, but there's not much. Tomorrow, the front's through. It's cooler and it's drier and it's sunny. To get you into the weekend, I'll tell you what, guys, we need some dry weather in the southeast to help with the river flooding situation. We will get that. We have one front today that comes through. It's not going to bring a lot of rainfall to the rest of the southeast, besides what it's doing. The northwest, that becomes our active spot. We'll focus on your forecast. It's half past the hour. Welcome back to AMHQ Early.
Let's get you out the door with the weather information you need to know this morning. Of course, we're watching what's happening in North Carolina. The saving grace from
they want their own clothes. They want their own bed. Unfortunately, it is taking some time to get this water down here. Thankfully, no additional rainfall. This is the amount of rain that we saw from Matthew. It was more than a foot to a foot and a half of rainfall. This came, of course, after Hermine and then Julia left this area just inundated with rainfall. So the rivers and streams and creeks and the ground saturated, everything running high before we even got the rain from Matthew. 5.1 trillion gallons of water. It's a tremendous amount of water that this area is trying to manage. Now, flood warnings remain in effect. You know, even up here into southeastern Virginia, the Norfolk area, we have some urban and small stream flood advisories up still through this evening because of residual flooding after the big rain from Matthew. So these are all the gauges, the river gauges that are at major flooding. All the purple triangles, all the red triangles actually have some impacts as well. Look Look, for example, at Greenville, North Carolina, still going up, forecasting to crest tomorrow at 25 feet. We're not quite at record stage here, but we're up in major flooding, and that's impactful to the area. Let's look at the Greenville area, where once you get above 24 feet, and we are expecting that, that's where devastating flooding for all areas near the river and nearly all major roads are impassable in the area. So even when it drops down to 22 feet and 20 feet, there are some areas that are flooded across town. So we are going to be dealing with the impacts of this even as the river drops. Full shot out there. Plenty of warmth coming our way, especially this weekend when Toby Keith headlines the Cattle Barons Ball on Saturday night. Let's show you the temperature changes coming. For today, we're going to be looking for a cool down, but then by the end of the week into the weekend, temperatures flip, winds flip around, temperatures flip around, and we go right back up to above average. So this is our below average day, and then after that, it's above average, and it's big time above average as we get into the upcoming week. 10 to 20 degrees above average starting this weekend across the South Central Plains, and that builds east into next week. So for Dallas, by Saturday, we're going to 88 degrees. It's not the 91 that we saw yesterday, but it is warm. It is well above average, and that's everyone here across Texas. 94 in Amarillo, 96 in Midland. Holding on to our endless summer, aren't we, right here? That has been the hashtag that so many National Weather Service offices have been using, and I agree. It feels like we can't shake the 90s, and we won't in Dallas. 91 degrees for you on Monday and Tuesday. Look at the warm spreading. 91 degrees in Jackson, Mississippi. 90 in Tallahassee. Nashville, we're 88, and I know you were hoping you were done with 90s, Nashville. 88 degrees is awfully close to 90, so we'll keep close tabs on that forecast. All right, so let's take a look. And by the way, that's affecting a lot of high schools, too. A lot of kids across eastern North Carolina still dealing with the flooding and will through the weekend into next week. Other stories to watch: a front moving east today. That front does bring some showers into Texas, also the Northeast. Breaks our heat that we had yesterday in Texas and cools us down. And it's one day only cool down. We start heating back up again. Wait till you see the temperatures coming. That's going to be a big story getting into the weekend. Plus the Northwest here, a huge storm with its focus poised on the Northwest. Now we're going to watch the track of the low pressure, much like we watch the track of low pressures when it comes to hurricanes. We got to watch that as well with our storm coming into the Northwest, because we are expecting some strong winds, but it will depend on the storm track. All right, coming up, Hurricane Nicole, an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm barreling towards the Bahamas. It was 2 years ago when we had two almost back to back. It was Faye and Gonzalo that tracked.
But as you mentioned, the island is well built. They're used to this type of weather. I'm looking at the updates and trying to find the latest information, but a lot of closures right now is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and as they should be. I saw them putting up their shutters yesterday, and that was a good move as well. Let me show you what's going on. We've got Hurricane Nicole as our main event in the Atlantic, Invest 99E over here in the Pacific. When it comes to Nicole, it's a Category 4 hurricane. This is our second Cat 4. Remember, Matthew was a 5 and a 4. Second in October to have a Category 4, and that is a new record. Let's take a look at where we are right now. Here's Bermuda, here's Nicole, here's the movement right up here into the northeast, unfortunately making a beeline right towards the island of Bermuda. Now, yes, Bermuda is a tiny island, and you think, how can it possibly, what are the odds, right, that a hurricane would match up with this tiny little island? But Bermuda happens to sit right in the Gulf Stream, so that's one of the factors. Let's show you what's happening as we look at the radar right now, tracking on in. Now, just looking at the satellite perspective, not the radar, but the satellite would show you that some of the strongest winds are likely on the west and the south side. That based on where we're seeing some of the strongest thunderstorms. That said, even where it may not be the strongest, look at this, that northern eye wall still has some pretty tough thunderstorms that are going to track on in. Let's talk about the winds. Right now, it's a breezy day. Temperatures, wind speeds are anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour in terms of the gusts that over there towards Napton Hill. That is going to increase through today. The core of the strongest of the winds will be right around the eye wall, and we'll have to watch to see where the strongest of the strong sort of rotate around and how it impacts the island of Bermuda. We watch this move through about lunchtime today, still in the eye wall at this point, and then we see it move beyond that by overnight tonight, and then we'll see improving conditions through the day tomorrow. So Bermuda, hunker down. You get the next 12 to 18 hours where we're really going to feel it, and then beyond that we will see improving weather, and certainly in 24 hours it will be a much different scene there. We track Nicole right out here into the central Atlantic, and then we'll see what happens by Sunday. Some of the models kind of making it a turn north, but at this point, that's not our concern. It's the here and now with Nicole bearing down on Bermuda this morning. Anna Riz?